Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I just got off work about an hour, about I would say 50 minutes ago. So, yeah, about 50 minutes ago. And I thought I'd talk about something. I tried to talk about this during my lunch break, but I was in a hurry and I was redoing it during my lunch break, so I thought I'd just do it now. Well, I got the time and I'm off. You know, I know a lot of well, not a lot of us. What I'm trying to say is, and I do apologize. I'm tired. I've had a long day. Um, Now, a lot of us, pretty much, if we're longtime hardcore fans, and if you listen to my recent audio video on the Forever War, which is sort of an update to a video I did almost a year and a half ago, going on 2 years this August. Some of you, if you listen to the recent one, may understand or may know that basically the idea was the idea before 2009 was to try to get the Forever War made into a reality. Basically, the Forever War was going to originally be the true finale to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures comic book series, which was being distributed and published by Archie Comics at the time. However, due to the fact that, as I said in the video, Steve Murphy and Chris Allen ended up butting heads with some of the higher ups, if you will, like Victor Golick, his publisher, and whatnot, due to the fact that you know due to the fact that Victor wanted to, and I guess some of the higher ups wanted the comic to be more lighthearted, more lighter tone, and aimed for that younger audience. But obviously, Steve and Chris saw a bigger picture. They realized that the younger audience has the cartoon series, but yet at this time, which was around 95, 96, the cartoon series itself was going through a, a reboot, a rebirth, if you will, a resurrection, if you, a reconstitution or resurrection or whatever you want to call it, a reboot. Uh, you know, yeah, basically it's sort of a reboot, a redesigned, kind of a more up-to-date look for the Turtles. It was becoming more of a darker show, more darker. I think, as the advertisements, as the Action Zone said, bigger, badder, darker Ninja, grittier Ninja Turtles, more action involved. I mean, yeah, you had your comedy, you had your break the fourth wall kind of stuff still, and all that, but it was more similar to what we had, basically it was more influenced from what we saw in the movies, and obviously from what we were reading in Archie Comics, as well as the other comics published by Mirage at the time. So, long story short, obviously Victor Golick and all of them didn't see that, and this was also at a time when they were publishing the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, and this is my opinion. Sonic the Hedgehog was going towards that more Satam-like style, but yet still kind of retained its humorous tone that it had since the comic began. And they wanted to go with that same direction for the Turtles. The only problem was the Turtles were a different brand of characters. And like I said, I think Steve Murphy and Chris Allen saw the bigger picture there by trying to mature them for an older audience. So, with that said, their initial plan to, like I said, the original plan for them to end the series was to do it with the Forever War. The Forever War would have ran originally from 71 to 75. It would have brought back all the characters that are associated with the Turtles, Shredder, brought them back for this one final showdown. And if you were a fan of Ninjara and Raphael's relationship, there was a chance they would have brought that back to the forefront. They would have probably brought them back together and kind of left it at that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of fans were not happy that they broke up. So I'm guessing Forever War would have brought them back together and maybe made them realize that, okay, we need to kind of work something out to where what happened in Alaska, where Moon Ice took place, the Moon Ice saga took place, doesn't happen again. Kind of works something out. Kind of take it step by step, if you catch my drift. But anyway, that never happened because, like I said, behind the scenes, as Steve Murphy called them, the bigwigs didn't like that direction, didn't like the tone it was going. And basically, when Steve and Chris said, hey, we want to go back and revisit the future Turtles, who were going to be a main focus along with the main Turtles, basically crossing over with them again, that's what basically caused the relationship between Steve Murphy, Chris Allen, and Archie Comics to disintegrate. Now, Steve Murphy and Chris Allen still had hope to try to bring the Forever War to the forefront, make it a reality. They even revisited the Ninja Turtle universe in their own way by publishing a 3-part story arc in the Radio Comics comic book series called Furlog with Ninjara. And Ninjara's stories were supposed to take place within the same continuity, but a few years later. But like I said, they were still planning even at that time and going forward, especially with the 25th anniversary in 2009, to try to revisit this and revisit the Forever War and get it published. But unfortunately, it never happened. Then Viacom came around and was basically sold the rights by Mirage to the Turtles and stuff. Well, basically, Mirage Studios had sold the rights to them, and the rest is history. However, at this time, IDW was also working with Mirage to publish some Ninja Turtle comics. And I'm pretty sure this deal took place slightly before Nickelodeon came around. Now, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure IDW, like I said, I could be wrong. Maybe the IDW deal came after the Nickelodeon purchase, or the Viacom purchase, but I can almost sense that it didn't. I almost feel like part of it didn't. But with that said, IDW started publishing comic books, Ninja Turtle comic books again, but this time these were comic books that were sort of a reboot, a remake of the original Mirage stories, but it was also like a mixture, sort of like what you're getting with the Nickelodeon series, but for a mature, older audience. You were basically getting something that, like I said, was more for a mature, older audience, and had influences from all incarnations of Turtles, past and present. Like from Mirage, and from the Mirage series, and the Archie series, and the 80s, 90s series, and what have you. You could basically, I think Irate Gamer, Chris Brones, said this in his take on it, that basically it's everything that the Turtles, have been all compiled into one story, and that it even finally gives a decent background story on how the Turtles went from having all red bandanas to having the multicolored bandanas, which I guess is pretty cool. But with that said, and being almost 8 minutes 45 seconds in, the point about this is when IDW acquired the license to publish the Ninja Turtle comics, and along with the deal that Nickelodeon got with it, IDW overall, through I guess a partnership with Nickelodeon and Viacom, also secured the rights to do a Ninja Turtle comic based on the new cartoon series on Nickelodeon, as well as it allowed them to make a deal, or ink a deal, I guess you say, with Archie Comics to distribute graphic novels, if you will, graphic novel reprints of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adventure comic book series. And so far, to date, they have 11 graphic novel reprint books or reissued books out, with a 12th volume coming in September. Now, the way these are done is it seems that they're done by containing 4 or 5 issues um, in the book, in the graphic novel, in the collection, if you will. So you have 4 to 5 issues collected into one volume. So basically, volume 12, when it comes out in September, from what I understand, is containing issues 51 to 54 of the Ninja Turtle comic book series, or the Ninja Turtles Adventure series, I should say. Well, issue 11, which is the more recent one to come out, contains 46, I think 45 or 46 to issue 50. Basically, it contains 4 to 5 issues, like I said. So I'm thinking it's 46 or 45. I have to go back and look to issue 50. Now, some fans that have went out and bought these collections have critiqued them and said that the only thing wrong with them is that some of the earlier volumes, which they may or may not be true, are skipping out on some stories. Now, I can only assume that these could be volumes 8 or 9 they're talking about, because when I looked it up on Amazon.com, I didn't see no reviews, I didn't see no synopsis, so I'm guessing those might be the issues or the volumes that contain the issues that some say are missing. Said issues that they say are missing are after they leave Japan, they're traveling in the desert. They are encountering Shredder. They meet this tiger or cat from the future for the first time. They end up being abducted by Cuddly the Cowlick and taken to basically taken to another universe, another dimension, to compete in an intergalactic wrestling tournament, only to be spit back out, or brought back to Earth and spit out by Cuddly the Cowlick to be part of the Mutant Animals crossover that they were a part of. Now, with that said, you might be wondering, well, how could that skip anything? Well, again, it all depends on whether or not you have a synopsis or reviews. And from what I saw, volume 9 or 8, one of them, I have to go back and look, do not have any of that on Amazon.com. Like I said, none of them have that on Amazon.com. But with that said, you're probably wondering, what do these reprint graphic novels or collections that IDW is doing of the Archie comic books series have to do with Forever War? Well, I was thinking about it, and if it is true that some of these graphic novel collections of the entire Archie Comics Ninja Turtle Adventure series is true, and there are some missing issues, maybe some missing mini arcs or whatever, I would not be surprised that by my calculation, by issues being contained in one collection, that if they do an even 16 volumes, that the 16th volume, whenever that gets released, will contain the Forever War. I truly think that's what's going to happen, because look at it this way. If 51 to 54 are going to be in volume 12 in September, then you know 55 to 58 will be in volume 13, possibly 59 as well. But let's take a look at it from a 4-issue standpoint. Then, on the other hand, volume 14 could contain 59, 60, 61, and 62. You get what I'm getting at? Here's what I'm saying. If they do what I think they're going to do, then volume 14 could be where they take one issue out, maybe one or two issues out, and focus it on the Cyber Samurai Turtle arc. That's right. For 4 issues of the main comic book series, it was based on the future Turtles, but it was also a 4-issue promotional tool to promote the new Cyber Samurai Turtle figures. But like I said, it was also an excuse to do a future story arc with the future Turtles, and at the same time tie in the Cyber Samurai toy line that was being produced. So I would not be surprised if Volume 14, if they decide to go in this direction, contains and is dedicated to those 4 issues of the Cyber Samurai story arc. 4 or 5 issues, I gotta go back and look. I think it's 4 issues of the Cyber Samurai story arc, which means is this, because after that we went immediately into the Moon Eye saga, which would be issue 15, which would be basically volume 15 in the graphic novel collection series by IDW. So I would not be surprised that if what some people are saying about these graphic novel collections of the Ninja Turtle Adventure series by Archie Comics being distributed by IDW Comics is true, and that there are some issues, filler issues or mini arcs or whatever being taken out, I would not be surprised if that happens to dedicate Volume 14 to the Cyber Samurai story arc, the Future Turtle story arc, as well as give them an opportunity to dedicate Volume 15 to the Moon Eye saga. Now you might say to yourself, well, Brian, that basically tells you right there that that's where they're going to end with 15 volumes. That might be true, but if you're a comic book company, you always want to round it out with an even number, right? I mean, anniversary issues like 25th anniversary issue, 200th anniversary issue, 300th, 100th. You always want to make things bigger when you have an even number. 50th anniversary, 75th, hey, that's great. Do something big there, something memorable. And a lot of comic book companies try to do that and succeed, and sometimes don't succeed. But when it comes to collections, I don't know how they wrap those up once they get everything they want reprinted into these collections completed. I don't know how they do it. But I would not be surprised, like I mentioned earlier, if they round it out to 16 and they work out some kind of deal with Steve Murphy and Chris Allen to get the Forever War made. I mean, I believe, in my honest opinion, that might be why it's taken so long. Maybe since these graphic novels have been coming out, these collections of issues have been coming out, of story arcs have been coming out from the Ninja Turtle Adventure series by Archie Comics, thanks to IDW, I would not be surprised if we end up getting the Forever War in a 16th volume of these collections, thus rounding out and fully restoring and completing originally as intended the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures comic book series by Archie Comics. As it was basically, I would not be surprised if that's the plan, to complete it the way it was originally meant to be completed when it was under the Archie Comics umbrella. I would not be surprised if that's what they do. Now, I know you might be saying, well, Brian, that's impossible. Chris Allen and Steve Murphy may not be interested. Oh, believe me, they may not be interested right now. They may not be coming out and saying, oh, we'd love to do it. Give us a crack at it. But if IDW comes to them and says, hey, we got room for one more, we want to do one more graphic novel collection volume of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures by Archie Comics, and we want it to be the Forever War, I almost can guarantee you they will jump at it. They will jump at that opportunity. Whether they're asked to do it the way it was originally intended to be, or if they have to change things up, I guarantee you they will jump at the opportunity, especially if IDW does exactly what they say they do, and that's listen to the fans and ask Steve Murphy and Chris Allen to try to make the Forever War as they originally intended it to be. So I believe that thanks to these collections, these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures collection volumes by IDW, which collects all the stories of a majority of the entire Archie Comics run for the Ninja Turtles, I believe there is a chance Forever War could become a reality finally. It may take a while because, we got Volume 12 coming out in September. Who knows how long it takes to collect all these issues. Volume 13 no doubt could be in the spring of next year, with 14 in the fall of next year. I mean, I would not be surprised that if by 2018 we do get the Forever War. I would not be surprised. So, overall, that's just my opinion. But I just get this feeling Forever War is coming. And it's going to come as a way for IDW to fully complete the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure series by Archie Comics as it was originally intended to be back in 1995 and 96. So let me know what you guys think about it. Do you think IDW is going to do that? And what would your thoughts be if they make that announcement in the near future? How would you feel if they made the announcement that the 16th volume in the collection of the Ninja Turtle Adventure series by Archie